Welcome to another edition of the Live Well and Fully podcast. Through this podcast, we help women remember that they matter too. We spark new insights on changes they might desire for in their own lives so they can step forward confidently and turn their dreams into reality.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Live Well and Fully. I'm Barbara Decker, and I'm on the East Coast of the United States in Pennsylvania. And I'm here today with Jill Savage. Jill, where are you hanging out today? What is the name of your town?
Normal, Illinois.
That's such a great name. I'm going to have to ask you that over and over. But anyway, Jill is an author, a speaker, a coach, and hosts the No More Perfect podcast. She's the author of Empty Nest, Full Life, and we'll give you the links to where you can find Jill online right below the podcast. The title of our interview today is How to Stay Steady in the Midst of Hard. And we'll start with question one. Jill, who do you serve?
Well, I serve actually two different audiences, actually three. Moms, period, just moms and moms that need encouragement. And that has really grown over the years into, I have a specialty in empty nest moms. A few years ago, I wrote the book Empty Nest, Full Life. And so I really have a passion for helping empty nest moms find their joy in this new season of life that sometimes is a struggle. And then together, my husband and I also serve marriages. Our marriage went through a really dark season 10 years ago. And we came out to the other side of it. Infidelity was a part of that journey. And we were able to get to the other side of it and have a better marriage than what we had before. And so we now call ourselves Mark and Jill 2.0. And so we help other couples find their 2.0. And I do that as well as a coach, helping individuals find their 2.0.
It's a wonderful way to look at it. You have such a positive attitude.
Well, I think that's important.
I agree. Question two, what is unique, special about your approach to diseases like addiction and mental illness, Jill?
You know, for me, my faith is an important part of my journey. And so certainly understanding it through the lens of faith has been an important part of it as well. I also believe that what we think determines what we feel and what we believe and what we do and the results that we get. And so I do a lot of focusing as an author, as a speaker, as a coach on the power of our thinking. And I think that when we're dealing with difficult relationships, how we think about that relationship, how we think about that person can make such a difference. And so that really is important to me.
I agree with you entirely. And the moms that I work with find that once they can separate their child from the disease in their mind and think about their child, they can shift things. So I'm glad to hear that. That's super.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important.
Question three, what one thing makes your approach effective, Jill?
Something that I call flipping the script. And that really comes back to the thinking, but it is flipping the script in your mind from maybe a thought that isn't helpful, a thought that is keeping you in a victim mindset, a thought that's keeping you maybe with unrealistic expectations of the relationship that you're dealing with or the scenario or the circumstances that you're dealing with. And so understanding that we need to take those thoughts and identify them, pay attention to what it is that you are saying to yourself, what you're believing, and then taking a look at that and going, do I need to flip the script? How do I need to flip that script in some way? We have definitely, I have had to do that with, we have a son that has a lot of mind disease issues. And when I can get my script to better match reality, I end up in a much better place. So unrealistic expectations are here and reality is here, and the space in between is discontentment. And so what I need to do is we think that the answer is for the other person to move up to here, but oftentimes that can't happen. The other person, what we have to do is we have to bring our expectations in line with reality, and then we squeeze out discontentment. And that's a gift we give ourselves, and it's a gift that we give our loved one.
That's a powerful illustration. Thank you so much. I agree with everything you've said. Question 4. What is the most common mistake a family member makes when dealing with a loved one who has a mind disease, an addiction, a mental illness?
I think the most common mistake is wanting change more than the other person wants change.
Or skin in the game, right?
Yeah, we do. We just, we bend over backwards to help them. And we bend over backwards to try to get them to see a different perspective or to take a different step. And there's nothing wrong with inviting them into that or reminding them, but it's like we get more skin in the game than they have. And then we grow disillusioned and we grow frustrated. And that really, I think, is a place where then relationships break down. And so I've had to pull myself back so many times as a mother. I have such a vision for my child and what his life could look like if he would only do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? And so, but oftentimes I want it more than he does. And so I have to pull myself back from that. And I think that is probably one of the biggest mistakes most of us make. And it comes from a good place.
Yeah.
But if we sit there day in, day out, we're going to grow disillusioned. We're going to maybe even simmer in anger. And that's not going to be helpful for us, nor is it going to be helpful for the relationship.
Correct. I agree. Number 5, what is one tip a listener can use starting now that will help them be more effective? I think you've answered this already, but if you have something you'd like to add real quick, now would be the time.
I think unconditional love goes a long way. And what does that mean? Dealing with my family members who have mind diseases has been a lesson in learning to love at a deeper level for me. Because I think that often we love, that if we really evaluate our love is kind of conditional. Like if they do this and this and this, then it's easier to be loving to them. And boy, what I have found is oftentimes when someone is loved for who they are, they actually sometimes begin to make some of those changes because of the power of acceptance. And so I think that evaluating our love and asking ourselves honestly if it's conditional or unconditional. And I'm not talking about not having boundaries. I'm not talking about any of those things that are healthy sometimes. We can have boundaries and choose to limit our time with someone and still love them unconditionally. I'm not talking about not doing something that's healthy for yourself in that way, but to really kind of go, am I able to accept this person, limitations and all, for who they are and love them for who they are. I think starting with examining our love and kind of doing a love audit is a great place for us to start.
I agree. And I paused the timer because I do want to ask you these two questions, and we're going to run a little over if that's okay with you.
Sure.
Okay. 6, what is one valuable free resource you'd like people to have, Jill?
If you go to my website, jillsavage.org, I have 3 free ebooks right on the front page of my website. And one is on self-care, one is an ebook on parenting, and one is an ebook on marriage. You get all 3, whether you're married or you're not. Just read the ones that interest you the most. We all need self-care. But that would be the easiest place to go, is to just head over to jillsavage.org, and you'll see right on the front those 3 free ebooks, as well as lots of other resources that you can tap into.
Excellent. And you'll find those links right below the podcast for the listeners. And finally, Jill, what should I have asked you that I didn't? And what's the answer to that question?
Let's go back to the empty nest. What is one thing that a person with young adult kids needs to understand to have a good relationship with them? And the answer to that is, you now belong to the Keep It Shut Club. And if your kids are out of your home, if they are living their own life, and especially if they are making choices that you cringe at, that you struggle with, recognize that you now belong to the Keep It Shut Club. And if they ask for your opinion, if they ask for your thoughts, by all means, share it. But if they don't, then you have to keep that to yourself. For my audience that I often share with, from a faith-based perspective, I often say, pray, don't say.
That's great. And I say to my students, picture duct tape.
Yes. Yes.
And I do that demonstration on calls all the time to get that visual in their head of just duct tape over your mouth.
I think sometimes we are biting our tongue so much it's bleeding.
Yeah.
But it is what we need to do. And it is an important part of learning to transition into that new role in your child's life.
Thank you so much, Jill. To the listeners, that's a wrap. And everything you said, Jill, I could not be any better aligned with. You have given such powerful tips and information. Your answers are so clear and helpful. I think everybody who is wrestling with these horrible diseases and their impacts will benefit from them. And so to everyone listening, I hope you find a pocket of joy today, because you are so worth it. Bye for now, and let's talk soon.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to be notified when new episodes are released. Then visit www.livewellandfully.com/workshop to experience the Love Another Way framework firsthand.